Over here on the lab, we've got some lyrics. They're the real heroes.
Those smooth, dulcet tones. That warm, pure energy. It can only be one thing. One thing can it be. The sky is the limit. Stay thirsty, my friend.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to BandLab Plus Coffee. That's right, it's 5 a.m. That means I'm here with you. It's time to wake up, wind up, and cue up another excellent BandLab track. And today we've got one called Welcome Home. This one is by Sky's the Limit Music and 3 others. You know why? Because collaboration is key. So, without further ado, to the lab! Time to wake up, wind up, and cue up with another excellent BandLab track. Over here on the lab, we've got some lyrics. They're the real heroes. Just kidding. Sky's the Limit Music here. We've got at BallerZ41 out of Lake Wales, Florida, USA, repping 4.61 thousand followers. As I said before, hashtag collaboration is key, which means we've got D.A. Da Vinci at Dawn_arrives. And we've got Casaroni giving us that hook at CASSSARONIE. And not to be outdone by any of the previously mentioned, we have Lord Clinic, and they will all put on a clinic for us here on BandLab with their track Welcome Home, repping 1.92 thousand plays, 170 likes, one of which soon to be our own. I feel it in my bones. You were the chosen one. Let's take a listen. Yes, funky.
Beautiful, beautiful.
I was saying this about another track on BandLab Plus Coffee, but I love starting with the filter vocals.
Like I finally made it home, but I forgot the key. Got me a spot on my own, shocked by my homies' greed. Now it's just lonely me. Is this how it's supposed to be? My enemies are close to me, get some visions of smoking me. Even if nobody listen, I'm still spitting. Realism, wish through a prism, ideal vision. Still living, mission climb hills and reveal wisdom. Will build and mention my skills, but there still isn't.
Mission climb hills, reveal hills, reveal wisdom. So good.
Been neglected to taint. The second I came, it's pleasure and pain. Connected to shame, it's vexing my brain. Next expected to change. Invest in the lane of truth. Even when I got boots and badges, aiming to shoot. Cause I came from my roots. These hate what I do, cause they knew I'ma move the masses. Stay with my group, coming through is the crew of the masters.
No matter the worry, my babe.
There we go, there we go.
This will all clear up one day. I got you, babe. Don't you worry, babe. I know.
No, I know. There's so much to say, but I want to listen, especially with the hip-hop track.
Welcome back to the future presently. Unpleasantly let bygones be bygones.
Welcome back to the future presently. I pleasantly let bygones be bygones.
Conditions we live in, we giving, accepting this mission. Tasting alcohol, waking up, last night's visions faded. Slightly jaded, a great day because I made it. Lost my mom, I hear her voice, my spirit's elated. Soul searching for purpose on this earth, God created.
Soul searching for purpose on this earth, God created.
Milestones when they hit them, real dirty, how they did them, dragged out to the alley, left with bloodstained denim, snake eyes, roll the dice, veins pump with venom. Welcome home, ironically, never left, I just roamed. Prodigal son, had a run, my eyes still on the throne, was sheltered by the shepherd when the rocks were thrown. Spirit guides by my side, so I'm never alone.
Prodigal son on the run, still sheltered, with my eyes on the throne. I like that imagery. that was good. That throw in the background, those ad-libs.
No matter, don't worry, my babe. This will all clear up one day. I got you, babe. Don't you worry, baby. I know. You never will know, no. Someday you gotta tell me it's
Welcome home. Ladies and gentlemen, let's take a moment to just bask in how well executed this track is. The next segment of the show aside, the execution on this track is clean. The vocals feel good. The track feels like it wraps around the vocalists. It creates a whole enveloping vibe that just brings you in, and you can't help but sit quietly, other than the lines that I wanted to repeat, because there's so much good stuff happening here. This is music that not only helps you vibe, but makes you think, and both things can be great when executed correctly, and in this case they are. This track warrants multiple listens. I'm already picking up on things in this track that make me go, I wonder what their meaning was, because I hear what I'm feeling. So with that being said, let's head to two things I love and one thing I want more of. The first thing I love in this track, and there's so much to love about the vocals and about how this is all executed, and we'll get there. But the first thing I love about this track are the two kind of funk elements that are playing throughout. You've got the, I don't know if it's pitch shifted, a sample, or if it's Casseroni doing her thing on a vocal track, but you've got the female vocalist throughout going, ooh. It's 5 a.m. My voice doesn't do that. And I believe it starts at the very beginning. Woo. It's in the background there. It sounds like it's shifted a little bit. It sounds like it's on some kind of, it's got some kind of talk box backing vocal synth. For all I know, it's a full on synth, and it just is a synth that sounds like a vocal, but it's super funky, and it's paired with this other synth that rides the track with it. And it is riding the whole track.
That's in the lane of truth, even when I got boots and badges, aiming to shoot, cause I came from my roots. These hate what I do, cause they knew I'ma move the masses, stay with my group, coming through is the...
It's so good that those two things paired together have created the hook for the instrumental. You have the hook for the vocal, and every vocal in this track is executed so well, but you also have this hook, this melody hook for an instrumental, which is something that I've mentioned a couple times, but I haven't really dove too deep into. I mentioned on a track previously, wow, this track is really great, but it could use like a guitar through line or a guitar through melody. This is kind of the thing that I'm talking about, where you have a melody that runs through the entire instrumental that gives someone something to latch onto.
No matter, don't worry, my babe. This will all clear up one day.
Even when we get to the chorus and we drop out the from the verse, we still have the woo in the background, and it even sounds like it's been either sidechained or pushed back even further so that Casseroni's vocal could come up front. And that's really important too. So there are so many different principles here, but if I was going to stick with two principles on why these two sounds are so important to this track, And why it's one thing that I love is this principle of the instrumental also carrying a memorable melody along with the vocal, but it's not so memorable that it's distracting above and beyond the vocal. And when you have a hip hop track with a really catchy, soulful R&B hook, you can't be having that instrumental go above and beyond the vocal. It's not allowed, okay? Not in my world. So, having this memorable instrumental where if I came to you and said, hey, you know that one song? I don't remember what it's called or who sings it, but it's like a... It's got like people... You'd be like, oh, that sounds familiar. Welcome Home, right? By Sky's the Limit Music. It's the kind of stuff that we do with things like moves like Jagger with Maroon 5 that has that funky like funky rhythm guitar that they used through that album. It's got a very distinct sound and it helps make the track memorable. So that is the first part. The second part is when you do come into that chorus and everything pushes back.
No matter the worry, my babe. This will all clear up one day.
It shifts the focus. So we don't actually lose that through line of those background oohs or woes or whatever you want to call them. They're just pushed back further. So your ear still understands that they're there and they're part of the vocal bed that we're dancing on. But they've been adjusted to create more dynamics in the track. It's okay to have a through line instrument. You just have to do something with it. This is something I see with drum samples a lot. When newer producers or artists pick their drum samples, you'll hear a sample that goes, and then they'll loop that through the whole song, which, yes, it's a drum beat. But then you've got 3 minutes and 34 seconds, not this song, but then you've got 3 minutes and 34 seconds of, and it becomes kind of stale. And so one of the things we learn is every 2 bars, we switch it up. Or when we go from a verse to a chorus, we switch it up. We give it some kind of variation to keep the listener listening. So we may start with, right? Some variation. But in this case, we have the other way of switching it up, which is during the verses, but then we come into the chorus and you still have that thing happening, but it's filtered down here. And then we get back to the verse. And your mind goes, oh, I've heard this before. I recognize it. It's comfortable. So keep in mind that you want to change something every 2 bars as a general rule of thumb. This doesn't mean make things incohesive, or rather incoherent and not cohesive. All it means is add some variation to your music. Not distracting variation, but variation that makes the listener go, wait a second. You know, like a glitch in the Matrix. You know, like a glitch in the Matrix. So that's the first thing I love. The second thing I love are these vocals. This is one of the coolest hip hop R&B tracks I have heard on the lab in a while. Outside of artists like Theroni, this is so good. Stephanus is also a really great R&B artist. But listen to the cadence and the flow on these things. We'll hear a little bit of the first one first.
Supposed to be, my enemies are close to me. Get some visions of smoking me. Even if nobody listen, I'm still spitting. Realism, wish through a prism, ideal vision. Milestones, when they hit them, real dirty. How they did them, dragged out to the alley, left with bloodstained venom, snake eyes, roll the dice.
Here's something you need to realize about hip hop, and it's something that not a lot of people think about. If hip hop is not your genre of choice, that's okay. We all have our genres of choice, unless you're me, in which case I like everything from mariachi music to country music to classical. Like, just everything. And don't even get me started on the mighty, mighty boss tones. Yeah, man. So if you're not big into hip hop, there's something called cadence. And most rappers, not all of them, but most rappers have different cadences. And that simply means that the way in which they speak their verses, it's different. It's a rhythm in which they speak their verses. For instance, in the first verse, we have a cadence that sounds like this.
Me a spot on my own. Shocked by my homies' greed. Now it's just lonely me. Is this how it's supposed to be? My enemies.
Just do right? And that's a cadence. It's a rhythm in which we are delivering our verse. But then we get here and there's this really great subtle change. So it creates not only different voices, obviously, but it creates a different cadence, which is something we change up throughout the song to create another level of dynamics in a hip hop track.
So searching for purpose on this earth, God created sedated, drugged out and sober. They say
Do da 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 do da 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 da. Right? So we have these pauses, this syncopated rhythm that makes our ear go, whoa, 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 what? Whoa, 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 what? And we're listening to these lyrics in a fresh and different way because the cadence shifts. Eminem will do this a lot. He'll go with something that is, Eminem's just, you stick with what you know, right? He'll go with something that is slower. For instance, I'm beginning to feel like a rap god. You get this hook that brings you something slower that sets you up for the next cadence. But for me to rap like a computer must be in my genes. And that's a whole phrase. And then we break it up. I got a laptop in my back pocket. My pen will go off when I half cock it. Got a fat knot from that rap profit. And then he switches it again. Made a living and a killing off it ever since Bill Clinton was still in office with, right? So he keeps switching up that cadence. And then he does it even further still towards the climax. So, samalama, dumalama, you assuming I'm a human. What I got to do to get it through to you, I'm superhuman. When he goes into that West Coast chopper, or rather Midwest chopper style, like Tech 9. So these cadence shifts in a hip hop song, listen for them next time you're listening to rap and hip hop because they do change often. NF is another great example of someone who changes up cadence from slow to fast and syncopated to rhythmic as far as a more flowing rhythm. It's just super interesting. And if you're willing to give yourself a shot and find an artist that you like or that kind of is doing something that you like, close your eyes, listen to the rhythm with which they speak. It should, and typically does, change throughout the song. The rhythm you get in verse 1 is not necessarily the rhythm you get in verse 2 and beyond. So those two parts of the hip hop, so good. And then we get into this hook.
cause they knew I'ma move the masses. Stay with my group, coming through is the crew of the masters.
No matter, don't worry, my babe. This will all clear up one day. I got you, babe. Don't you worry, baby.
She's given us the R&B vocals and she's given us the money note, right? The money note is the thing that makes your ear go, woo. And it's also the thing that makes you kind of subconsciously go, woo, right? And so, do you go better? Is that money note gets up there. But then Castroni not only gives us this hook, but as we get to the end, she gives us those ad-libs. So listen very carefully. In the background of the chorus, you're going to hear the chorus or the hook. And you're also going to hear ad-libs in the back, which add another layer of dimension and differentiate the last chorus, the final chorus, from the first.
This will all clear up one day. I got you, babe. Don't you worry, baby. I know. You're never alone. Someday you gotta tell me it's alright.
And it sounds like a lot of her ad-libs are panned to one side as well. There's also, I believe it sounds like a delay is added on there, but her vocal also has what sounds like a lot of saturation on it. And all that's doing is warming up that vocal. It almost gives it kind of a fuzz because of how high it's turned up and applied, but it's so good. It helps it cut through. It gives it like this knife quality that just cuts through the track. And you're like, yeah, this is the chorus, man. And it lets the vocal ring out really well. Congratulations to everyone involved, whether it's the instrumental doing its thing with the through line of melody, or it's the vocalist doing their thing and just being awesome vocalists here on BandLab. Everyone should jump over to Sky's the Limit Music, Ballers41. Follow them. Follow at Ballers41, BALLERZ 41, at Lord Clinic, LORDC. Oh, Lord Cynic, my bad. LORDCINIC, at Dawn Arrives, DAWN_ARRIVES, and at Cassaroni, CASSSARONIE. Do it. And, while you're over there, go ahead and give DJTatious a follow on BandLab, YouTube, or wherever you choose to consume your social media. We're there. Thanks so much for waking up, winding up, and queuing up another excellent BandLab track with me, grabbing your coffee, getting the day started on not only a positive note, but an intentional one. Start your day intentionally, and thank you for starting your day with me. We'll see you next time.